The day that wasn't. The stained glass windows of St. Jude's painted the polished pews with a vibrant, shifting mosaic. Yet Jamie's gaze was singularly fixed on the aisle. His heart hammered a frantic rhythm against his ribs, a joyful, anticipatory ache. A hushed excitement vibrated in the air, a blend of white lilies and aged timber. He adjusted his bow tie, a familiar gesture born of nerves, and a small, hopeful smile graced his lips. This was it. The culmination of dreams, the meticulously planned day he would finally marry Lily. The organ's majestic, triumphant chords swelled, eliciting a collective gasp that rippled through the congregation. Then Lily. She materialized at the church's rear, an ethereal vision in ivory, the delicate lace of her gown shimmering in the diffused light. Her smile, typically so luminous, seemed subtly constrained, Jamie noted, a fleeting observation he quickly attributed to pre-wedding jitters. She advanced with poised grace, her father's arm linked through hers, her focus unwavering on Jamie. As she drew nearer, however, the tightness in her expression deepened, and an almost imperceptible tremor ran through her shoulders. Jamie's own smile broadened, his eyes welling with unshed tears of pure happiness. He extended a hand instinctively as she finally stood before him, the space between them now merely a breath. The minister cleared his throat, his voice gentle and resonant. "Lily, do you take Jamie to be your lawfully wedded husband, to have and to hold, from this day forward, for better, for worse, for richer, for poorer, in sickness and in health, to love and to cherish, till death do you part?" Lily's eyes, usually so warm and lucid, appeared distant, clouded. She swallowed hard, her gaze sweeping over Jamie's expectant face before flicking to the hushed assembly. A wave of unease rippled through the quiet sanctuary. Then, so softly Jamie almost missed it, a whisper shattered the vibrant stillness, a sound that resonated with more power than any shout. "No." The word hung in the air, a tiny, devastating detonation. Jamie's heart, a moment ago a frantic pulse, simply ceased. The kaleidoscopic colors from the windows seemed to drain away, stripping the scene bare in stark, monochrome shock. The minister's face went slack. A fresh gasp, then a burgeoning murmur, swept through the pews. Jamie remained motionless, his outstretched hand still suspended, his world tilting on its axis. He couldn't draw breath. He couldn't formulate a thought. All he could do was stare at Lily, who pointedly avoided his gaze. A hand in the crowd. The collective gasp that rippled through the pews felt like a physical blow, stealing the air from Jamie's lungs. The vibrant stained glass windows, the sweet scent of lilies, the hushed murmurs of anticipation, all dissolved into a blurry, deafening void. Every single eye in the church, dozens of them, felt like a burning laser, dissecting Jamie's humiliation. The silence that followed was a living entity, heavy and suffocating, pressing down with the weight of shattered dreams and public spectacle. Jamie's heart hammered a frantic rhythm against their ribs, a frantic bird trapped in a cage. Each second stretched into an eternity, an unbearable tableau of rejection, leaving Jamie rooted to the spot, a statue of mortification at the altar. Then, a quiet rustle, a shift in the periphery. A hand, warm and firm, settled on Jamie's arm. It wasn't a sudden, jarring grip, but a gentle, reassuring presence that seemed to anchor Jamie in the swirling chaos. Jamie didn't need to look to know it was Alex. The familiar touch was a lifeline, a silent promise in the vast, echoing space. Alex's fingers didn't squeeze, didn't pull, but simply rested there, a solid, unwavering point in the universe. "Come on," Alex murmured, the voice a low thrum against the backdrop of the stunned assembly. It wasn't a question, nor a command, but a soft invitation, laced with an understanding that transcended words. Alex's gaze, when Jamie finally lifted their eyes, was steady, a clear pool of unwavering support amidst the wreckage. Without another word, Alex began to move, a slow, deliberate pivot away from the altar, away from the horrified expressions and the gaping silence. Jamie, still numb, found their feet following, one leaden step after another. Alex's hand remained, a constant, guiding force, gently steering them down the aisle, past the bewildered faces, toward the heavy oak doors and the promise of air outside. The church's grand entrance, moments ago a symbol of a new beginning, now represented an escape from a nightmare. Under the oak tree, the late afternoon sun dappled through the leaves of the old oak, casting shifting patterns on the weathered park bench. Alex led Jamie to it, the silence between them a heavy blanket woven with unspoken questions. The air was cool, carrying the faint scent of damp earth and distant honeysuckle. A few children's voices drifted from a playground across the field, a stark contrast to the quiet ache radiating from Jamie. Jamie sat down, shoulders slumped, eyes fixed on a patch of moss growing on the tree's gnarled roots. I don't understand, Jamie began, voice barely a whisper, raw with unshed tears. Everything felt so real, so certain. Was it all just a performance? Did I imagine it all? A tremor ran through Jamie's hand as it reached out, then hesitated, hovering in the air. Alex didn't speak, just shifted closer. A steady, warm presence. The hand that had been offered found its way into Alex's, and a gentle, reassuring squeeze was the only reply. The contact was a lifeline, anchoring Jamie in a swirling sea of confusion. I feel so foolish, Jamie continued, the words spilling out in a rush, a dam finally breaking. Like I missed something fundamental. How could I have been so blind? So hopeful. A single tear tracked a path down Jamie's cheek, catching the sunlight. And now what? What do I do with all this emptiness? The grip on Alex's hand tightened, a desperate plea for understanding in the face of the unexplainable. Alex's thumb brushed lightly over the back of Jamie's hand, a silent acknowledgement of the pain. The oak tree stood sentinel above them, its ancient branches seemingly absorbing the weight of Jamie's confession. The silence stretched, not awkward, but filled with the profound empathy Alex offered without a single word. Jamie didn't need advice, not yet. Just a quiet, unwavering presence to hold on to in the wreckage of a shattered dream. A hidden truth. The scent of stale coffee and something faintly metallic. Maybe the last rain hung in the air of Alex's apartment. Jamie sat on the worn couch, a crumpled tissue clutched in a damp hand, the sting of Lily's rejection still a raw, open wound. Alex, perched on the edge of the armchair opposite, had been a silent, comforting presence for the last hour, offering a steady supply of tea and a shoulder to lean on. Jamie, Alex began, voice soft, almost a whisper, breaking the quiet that had settled between them. Jamie looked up, eyes red-rimmed. Alex took a deep breath, hands clasped tightly in their lap. There's something I need to tell you. Something I should have said a long time ago. Jamie's brow furrowed, a flicker of apprehension cutting through the haze of grief. What is it, Alex? Alex's gaze was unwavering, yet held a vulnerability Jamie had never seen before. I've always cared about you, Jamie, more than just a friend. The words hung in the air, thick and unexpected, like a sudden shift in the weather. Jamie's breath hitched. Confusion warred with the dull ache in their chest. Friendship, that was the bedrock of their 20 years together. The idea of anything else felt like an alien concept, a foreign language spoken in a familiar voice. What do you mean? Jamie managed, the question barely a murmur. A faint blush touched Alex's cheeks. I mean, I love you, Jamie. Not like a brother or a best mate. I've been in love with you for years. The confession landed like a small, heavy stone in Jamie's already turbulent mind. Lily's face, etched with regret, flickered in their memory. Then Alex's earnest, open expression replaced it. It was too much, too soon. The universe, it seemed, wasn't content with merely shattering Jamie's world. It insisted on rearranging the fragments into an unrecognizable mosaic. Jamie stared, speechless, the warmth of Alex's hand on their arm now feeling like an electric current, charged with a meaning they were utterly unprepared to decipher. Weeks of warmth. The scent of Alex's homemade lentil soup became the fragrance of healing. Every other day, a gentle knock would sound, and Alex would be there. a thermos in one hand, a new paperback in the other, and a quiet smile that promised no pressure, only presence. Jamie, still a little fragile, found immense comfort in these predictable visits. They would sit on the worn sofa, sometimes in comfortable silence, sometimes trading anecdotes about their days, or Alex would read aloud from a fantasy novel, the cadence of their voice a soothing balm. One afternoon, Alex found Jamie staring blankly at a half-finished crossword puzzle. "Stuck?" Alex asked softly, settling beside them. Jamie nodded, a small sigh escaping. "My brain feels fuzzy." Alex picked up the pen. "Let's tackle it together." And they did, piecing together clues, a quiet joy blooming with each solved word. Jamie even managed a genuine laugh when Alex misread canine as cranium, leading to a ridiculous discussion about dog skulls. The laughter was new, still a little unfamiliar on Jamie's lips, but it was there, a testament to Alex's patient tending. They baked cookies together, the kitchen filling with the sweet aroma of chocolate chips and the even sweeter sound of easy conversation. Jamie recounted a particularly embarrassing childhood memory, and Alex, instead of judging, simply listened, their gaze warm and understanding. With each passing day, the heavy shroud of heartbreak began to lift, replaced by a delicate, budding sense of hope. It wasn't just the company or the food. It was the unwavering support, the knowing glances, the shared jokes that made Jamie feel seen, truly seen, for the first time in what felt like forever. Alex's presence was a steady anchor in a turbulent sea, allowing Jamie to slowly, tentatively, believe in warmth again. The world outside still held its uncertainties, but within these four walls, with Alex by their side, Jamie started to feel grounded, ready to face whatever came next. More than a friend. The afternoon sun warmed Jamie's back as they carefully settled a vibrant petunia into the freshly turned earth. Beside them, Alex hummed a tuneless melody, their brow furrowed in concentration as they gently loosened the roots of a snapdragon. The air smelled of damp soil and the faint, sweet scent of blooming roses from the trellis nearby. "Careful with that one," Alex murmured, reaching out a hand to steady a wilting leaf on Jamie's petunia. "It's a bit delicate." Jamie chuckled, appreciating the gentle instruction. "You always know exactly what these plants need, don't you?" Alex offered a soft smile, their eyes crinkling at the corners. "Just trying to give them the best start." As Jamie watched Alex meticulously arrange the snapdragon, their fingers surprisingly nimble despite the dirt beneath their nails, a subtle shift occurred. It wasn't just the way Alex handled the flowers with such tenderness, but the quiet understanding that always radiated from them. Jamie remembered countless times Alex had listened without judgment, offering support without being asked. There was a profound kindness in every gesture, every patient word. A bead of sweat trickled down Alex's temple, catching the sunlight, and Jamie felt a strange warmth bloom in their chest, entirely unrelated to the afternoon heat. It was a sensation of recognition, of seeing Alex in a new, clearer light. It wasn't just the comfort of a lifelong friendship. It was something deeper, something that resonated with the very core of Jamie's being. The ease with which they existed side by side, the shared silences, the unspoken understanding, it suddenly felt like the most natural thing in the world, more vital than simple companionship. Jamie's heart gave an unexpected thump. This wasn't just a friend. This was someone who understood the unspoken fears, the quiet hopes, the deepest parts of them. Alex was a sanctuary, a steadfast presence in a world that had recently felt so uncertain. Looking at Alex now, sun-kissed and covered in a little dirt, Jamie realized the complicated line they'd been walking wasn't complicated at all. It was simply the path leading to something far more profound. Scary new feelings. Mia idly traced the condensation on a cold glass, watching individual droplets meander down its side. The kitchen was hushed, a stark contrast to the buzzing in Jamie's head, broken only by the refrigerator's low hum. Weeks had cascaded by since the wedding fiasco, weeks since Alex was simply there, a steady anchor amidst life's swirling chaos. In that span, An almost imperceptible tremor had begun beneath the bedrock of their long-standing friendship. The familiar warmth that enveloped Jamie in Alex's presence now held a sharper edge, a brighter intensity, like the unexpected burst of a rare bloom. A stray thought of Alex's gentle laugh, the way their eyes crinkled with genuine amusement, sent a jolt through Jamie's chest. This wasn't merely admiration. It was something richer, far more intricate, and frankly terrifying. Jamie squeezed their eyes shut. What if these burgeoning emotions, these disquieting new sensations, were a colossal mistake? What if acknowledging them, even internally, jeopardized the most stable, most cherished connection Jamie had ever known? The thought of shattering their bond, even as friends, for a fleeting, uncertain romantic impulse, tied Jamie's stomach into knots. Alex was too integral, too vital to Jamie's world. Their friendship was a formidable fortress, constructed brick by careful brick over years of shared laughter and unwavering support. To risk dismantling it for an untested, unknown structure felt like an act of profound recklessness. Yet, ignoring the insistent tug was becoming an impossible feat. Every casual touch, every shared glance, now carried a new, significant weight. Jamie envisioned a world where these feelings were returned, where the lines blurred into something deeper, more intimate. The image was both exhilarating and profoundly unsettling. What would Alex say? What if the sentiment wasn't mutual, and Jamie had merely carved an awkward chasm between them? The uncertainty was a heavy cloak, smothering Jamie's typically optimistic spark. Jamie stared at the glass again, the condensation now a tiny puddle. The question hung in the quiet air, heavy and unresolved. What to do with this burgeoning, beautiful, dangerous thing? Brave, honest talk. The late afternoon sun cast long shadows across Alex's living room, illuminating dust motes dancing in the air. Jamie sat on the edge of the sofa, hands clasped tightly in their lap, a knot of anticipation twisting in their stomach. The comfortable silence between them, usually a source of calm, now hummed with an unspoken tension. Alex! Jamie's voice was barely a whisper, a little rough at the edges. Alex, who had been engrossed in a book, slowly lowered it, their gaze softening as they met Jamie's anxious eyes. Yeah, Jamie? Jamie took a shaky breath. I need to talk to you about something. Something important. Their heart hammered against their ribs. This felt terrifying, like stepping off a cliff. It's about us, about what's been happening. Jamie's eyes flickered to the floor, then back to Alex, searching for a sign, any sign. After everything with the wedding, and how you've been there, I think my feelings for you have changed. They're not just friendly anymore. The words tumbled out, fast and breathless, leaving Jamie feeling exposed and vulnerable. A blush crept up their neck, their cheeks burning. Alex's expression shifted, a wave of understanding washing over their features. A slow, gentle smile spread across their face, easing the tightness in Jamie's chest. Oh, Jamie, Alex said, their voice warm with relief. Thank goodness. I thought I was going crazy, feeling the same way. Alex closed the distance between them, sitting beside Jamie, a comforting presence. It's been a lot, and I've been trying to figure out how to even begin to say it without messing things up between us. Jamie looked up, a glimmer of hope replacing the fear. So, we're on the same page? Alex nodded, reaching out to gently take Jamie's hand, their touch sending a jolt of warmth through Jamie. More than on the same page, but it's a big step, a new path. We should probably go slow, right? See where it takes us. Jamie squeezed Alex's hand. Slow sounds good, but exploring it? Really exploring it. Alex's eyes held a steady, brave light. Yes, Jamie, I'd like that very much. A deeper kind of love. The scent of brewing coffee mingled with the faint, sweet smell of Alex's shampoo. A comforting symphony Jamie had come to associate with peaceful mornings. Jamie traced patterns on the condensation of their mug, a small smile playing on their lips. Life, undeniably, was not what they'd envisioned. The crisp white dress, the grand church, the meticulously planned reception, all fragments of a dream that shattered into a million pieces. Yet, looking at Alex across the kitchen table, engrossed in a book, Jamie felt a profound sense of rightness that transcended any prior expectations. "Thinking about something important?" Alex asked without looking up, a soft chuckle in their voice. Jamie flushed slightly, a familiar reaction even now. "Just everything. How different it all is. But in a good way." Alex finally met Jamie's gaze, their eyes warm and understanding. "Different can be good, Jamie. Sometimes it's exactly what we need." They closed their book, giving Jamie their full attention. "Are you okay with different?" "More than okay," Jamie admitted, a surge of strength blooming in their chest. The old Jamie, the one who tried so desperately to keep everyone happy, would have crumbled under the weight of such a drastic change. But this new Jamie, forged in the fires of public humiliation and unexpected support, felt resilient. "I feel strong and ready for whatever comes next. With you." Alex's smile widened, a quiet joy radiating from them. "I'm right here, Jamie. Always." Their hand reached across the table, gently covering Jamie's. The touch was a familiar anchor, a silent promise. Jamie squeezed Alex's hand, a sudden clarity washing over them. The heartbreak had been immense, a gaping wound that had threatened to consume them whole. But from that very brokenness, from the ashes of a shattered future, something infinitely more precious had emerged. A love that wasn't about expectation or societal pressure, but about raw honesty, unwavering support, and a connection so deep it felt like breathing. True happiness, Jamie realized, wasn't found in perfectly executed plans, but in the unexpected warmth of a hand holding yours, in the quiet understanding in someone's eyes, in the courage to rebuild a life that felt authentically, wonderfully, your own.